Stampers, and thanks for joining me today. Today's beautiful card was designed for my stamp club, so we'll be doing a little watercoloring and a little color spritzing on this with our Stampin Write markers. Let's get right to it. We'll be using the Elements of Style stamp set. Oh, love this set. We'll be stamping on watercolor paper today. Stampin' Up's watercolor paper, as you can see, has a little bit of texture to it. It's 100% cotton cold pressed paper. It is made to be watercolored on. Very forgiving, and it holds the color beautifully. We're also going to use StazOn Jet Black ink, and this will prevent bleeding when we watercolor over the image. So we're going to stamp this right down. The paper that you use when watercoloring makes all the difference in your finished project. I'll be using Melon Mambo and Certainly Celery Classic ink pad refills to watercolor with. Just put a drop here. I'm using a lid to a brad container. I always like to use some scratch paper so you can test out your brush, and in this case it has a little bit of ink on it, so I'm just going to wipe off the excess ink that was already there. I'm going to pick up some of the Melon Mambo, and I'm going to start watercoloring the image. Now I'm just kind of roughly going around, and you have my permission to go outside the lines. It is a watercolor after all. Now I want the inside shaded areas of the image to be darker, so I'll be taking some heavy concentrated ink on those areas and then using the lighter ink on the rest. So basically what I'm going to do now is go around and shade all of the flowers lightly so they look like this. And then we'll take some of the ink and just go over just these shaded areas of the image. Not the whole thing, just these shaded areas. Do you see how that added some depth to our project? So we have two tones of ink here, the lighter and the darker. Squeeze a little water on here and rinse off the brush, so to speak. I love these things. And then we'll move on to our Certainly Celery and do a very similar effect on the leaves. This is what I mean by watercolor paper being forgiving. I can lift some of this color off where it was too dark. Next I'll be taking one of my favorite tools, the Color Spritzer, and a basic black Stampin Write marker. Now the markers have two ends, the fine tip and the brush tip. We want the brush tip end for spritzing. And I'm going to slide, this is adjustable here, so make sure it's really loose when you slide your marker in. Now, depending on where this tip is, see how this is going to blow air when I squeeze it. Depending on where the tip of the marker is, it's going to give you a different effect. It could be splattery or it could be more fine mist. I'm going to put it right about in the center. And the closer you hold it to your image, the more concentrated the spray, and the further away you're going to get a little bit more of a mist. So I'm going to test it on this scrap paper. And my aim was a little high, so you see, this is about the look I want. Always test this out first, even if you know what you're doing. So I'm going to spritz that around. Isn't it awesome? It just added that vintage look I wanted. Next I've got a 6-inch and a 4-inch piece of satin black ribbon. Next I'll take a little snail adhesive and we're going to attach that to some Melon Mambo. I'm going to use a little snail on either end and wrap that around the front. Just attach it in the back. And for a faux knot, I'll take a 4-inch strip, place it underneath, and just tie once. Oh, it's so classy. And we shall complete this project by using a basic black card base and just attach that panel right on there. Oh, and it is so simple and easy and so absolutely stunning in person. Thanks for joining me today.